Hey everyone, Scott Cunningham, making Scottsy Business. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about philosophy and how we should appreciate the opposing views so that we can have our own views to begin with. And this is sponsored by EasyDex, a great decentralized exchange platform. Go and check that out. I've also got a little outro at the end. I'll include these sponsor messages for when they're sponsoring the video, because they're sponsoring this one today. So, you need to appreciate opposing views because that's how you can have your view to begin with. Alan Watts talks about this in his book Out of Your Mind, and he does in several different lectures. I've listened to most of his lectures, just started reading his books. They're very similar. I feel like you can get the information out of regardless of which medium you choose. Anyways, you need to appreciate the opposing view because it allows you to have your view. It's like yin and yang. If there was no yin, there is no yang. If there's no left political views, there's no right political views. It would seem convenient to say, yeah, but if all the leftists just joined us on the right, then we'd be good. We would be happy. We wouldn't have to fight anymore. We'd all just agree on everything. But actually, you like being the underdog, or you like fighting for your views and defending your beliefs, and you like affirming the things that you believe in. You may not always want to admit it, but everyone likes affirming their beliefs. Most people debate to win, not to change the other people's mind. Rarely do you ever see people coming out of a debate, or especially an argument, and actually being like, you know what, I'm so upset with this person that I will switch to their belief set. No. It just gets you more and more on the defensive or the offensive, and typically you're more affirmed in believing your belief than you were beforehand. So it's kind of ironic how that works. And the only time this isn't the case is usually, or I guess one of the most prolific cases of this would be in politics, where you see the left and the right. Obviously, they can't agree. So when they're debating, they have to convince the audience, not each other, because they're never trying to change each other's minds. Obviously, the person on the left is never going to agree with capital punishment and, etc., like vice versa, whichever political views you want to use as an example, but, they're always obviously going to have to stand for whichever side. And if they just agreed on everything, then there would be no one would know who to vote for. If they were both going to say the same thing, they agreed on all the same things, and they were both left and right, but they all wanted to do the same thing, you would be confused. You'd be like, I don't even know who to vote for. And if you didn't know who to vote for, then what would be the point of elections? Elections seem so much more relevant when everyone is fighting over who should be voted in, because then it seems so crucial for you to go and vote, because if you don't vote, then the other person who's got all these opposing views to what you believe in is going to get into office, and they're going to do all these terrible things that you oppose, and then it's such a crisis. It's so important. You need to do this now. You need to go out and speak about this. You need to fight people. You need to riot in the streets. So it's really interesting. It's getting out of hand, though. This is the whole point. This is what Alan Watts talks about. He's like, you need to appreciate that there's opposing sides, because then there would be nothing at all if there weren't. But you need to not take it to such an extreme level. You need to not get too intense about it. It's interesting because he talked about this in like 1960, and it's just so timeless and relevant to today. It's very interesting, and I highly recommend you read or listen to lectures by Alan Watts. He was a great British philosopher. Anyways, it's the same with anything in life. Discourse at one level is harmony on another level. If there weren't bacteria inside my body fighting it out, that would be bad. It would be hurting my immune system if I didn't have bacteria fighting and, building antibodies and just doing this general back and forth. And if animals weren't, fighting, and like if the higher up animals ate too much of the animals below them on the food chain, then there would be no food, and then they would all die, and then something below them would would just grow immensely and then overpopulate, and it just causes issues. There has to be some discourse at lower levels to create harmonies at higher levels on larger scales. So if people weren't having a little bit of discourse about politics, then politics wouldn't matter. Though I don't think the current political system is really that good, but it's better than nothing at all. And this is why discourse, to some degree, is actually important, and it matters. It helps people affirm their beliefs. It helps you learn who you are, and because there's two ways that you learn who you are, and you either grow into who you think you are, or you discard who you think you're not. And I think both are important, but I actually think discarding is more important at the end of the day. And for politics, I used to consider myself more left, more liberal, because, well, liberalism is about freedom, and all these things, that the ideals seem very, very great, but all the alt-left stuff going on and a lot of the stuff happening on the left side today makes me say, okay, yeah, maybe that's not what I am, because I don't agree with these things, and I actually want to discard most of these things. But in the past, I had issues with the conservative belief set, so maybe it's about discarding, more than one thing and not just defaulting to the opposite side, because I was looking at it dualistically. I was saying, if I'm not conservative, I'm liberal. But now I'm saying, you know what? It's not so dualistic. Maybe I just need to discard many things and figure out what I think I am. I'm probably centrist more than anything, but I guess I'm a little bit more right-leaning now. It's really hard for me to pinpoint it, because I've got viewpoints on all sides. So regardless, though, if I didn't discard these things, then I wouldn't be getting closer to who I actually think I am, and then growing into the person that you're now more focused on becoming, because you've discarded things that you're not, so you won't grow into those things. You'll grow in naturally to the things that you want and you believe that you are, and you believe that are more close to your value set, because you've discarded the things that you're not. So let me know what you guys think about this, the discarding and the growing into theory, and the whole idea of without the opposition you wouldn't actually get to have your beliefs at all. And because of this, you need to thank and appreciate and have gratitude for the opposing views, because you wouldn't get to have your views otherwise. There's no sadness, there's no happiness. If there's no left, there's no right. If there's no right, if there's no white, there's no black. If there's no light, there's no dark. It's pretty simple. Let me know what you guys think. Again, I think this is really important, and a lot of people sort of, don't really dive into thinking about things like, how am I progressing as a person? How am I growing? How am I improving? And then think, wait, how am I getting rid of things that I'm not improving? It's a much more Eastern value set than it is a Western one. I think it's very important to consider. So again, let me know what you guys think. Keep on earning, keep on learning, keep on steaming. Philosophy.